Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Eddie, and I am back with another episode of Heavenly Delusion. Alright, looks like today's episode didn't have any actual segments of heaven. It was just pure Kiriko and Maru, which, on one hand, kind of a shame, but at the other hand, I'm not really just complaining, because I like Kiriko and Maru as well. So, yeah, it's got a pretty interesting episode. So, the entire episode starts off with some silly door signing. Like, the subtitles are really doing their best here to show, like, how everything was misspelled, and I thought it was really funny. An interesting thing that I was pointing out this episode is that the Maru is really the only one that calls the man-eaters, Hiriko. And apparently that's because Mikura, the girl who, I guess, like, took Maru in, that also introduced, the girl that also gave Kiriko the gun, also calls them Hiriko. So I'm kind of curious where that name came from. I wonder if that's going to be anything important, because Maru's the only one that... I think Maru's the only one that really calls them that. If there's one thing this anime is really good at, it's kind of like faking you out. Like, we all thought that the Immortal Order was going to go in and, like, pick the kids up. But no, as it turns out, it's their rival faction, the Levumen. I'm not sure how you pronounce them. And basically they oppose the Immortal Order, who are basically the Adeptus Mechanicus. I could definitely see why they oppose these guys, because if you look at that, like, if you saw that, like, remember that scene, that imagery of the person just, like, hooked up into a machine was truly, really terrifying. Apparently transhumanism was like a huge thing in, I guess, like, society before the collapse, so I wonder if that's got anything to do with it. Alright, so bathing outdoors. Maru, you lucky bastard. You got to see Kiriko naked. That scar on Kiriko's forehead definitely had me kind of like creeped out though, because like, no matter what, it's always going to be true that Kiriko was originally Haruki, a boy, and that just, I don't know, that just like really messes with me. Like, that kind of really trips me up. By the way, was that Levumen guy voiced by the same guy who voiced the Kaguya-sama narrator? Like, it has to be. I recognize that voice from a mile away. I'm just saying, like, it's him. Anyhow, the vibe I got from the Levumen are that they are a bunch of anarcho-primitivists, and if you don't know what that is, I think there's a funny J-Reg video about that. What anarcho-primitivism. Like, honestly, I'm not sure if I trust them 100%, because like I have no doubts that they are allies in the moment, but they seem to be going, like, they seem to take this whole technology bad thing really far. This whole thing had me wondering if that they are going to be like really messed up themselves somehow. But then again, I've said that about basically every other society that we've come across, and it turns out I've been wrong each and every time. They're all just normal people, so I guess they're just normal people. What I found extra funny, though, was that the Levumen are just protesting like regular society still around, rather than waging some weird guerrilla war, which is what I personally expected, because the entire place just looks so deserted, and just no one's there, so who exactly are you it looks like they're just protesting against these people, so yeah. It looks like they have a lot of supporters, because apparently even the guard to the basement was on their side. I'm not sure how long it took them to, infiltrate that far, but they did it. Anyhow, that entire segment with the parking lot had me on edge the entire time. Like, seeing a fairly dirty but still high-tech and functional underground parking lot that honestly, if you looked at it alone, wouldn't be too out of place in like a regular slice of life anime, really gave me some seriously uncanny valley vibes when you know it's the place for storing man-eaters. That and the fact that it's the apocalypse, so seeing someplace this unscathed was honestly kind of sus. I legitimately started thinking that everything was a setup and that they would gas them, knock them out, and experiment on them after they fell over. And seeing how non-degraded it was, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there were definitely still some, if a lot of this was still functional, and that, I'm not sure what parking lot has gas generators, but, stuff like that. I agree with Kiriko here. I was glad to learn that there were man-eaters down there, though I do admit that there's remained this small voice in my head that continued to ask, okay, but what if they're just bait? Like, even if the man-eaters are down here, what if these, I was just waiting for the sleeping gas to just come out of the vents anyway, even after they got all the man-eaters, so I'm glad I'm not glad, but that didn't happen, I guess. Also, that dream sequence, holy shit, that dream sequence legitimately had me wondering how Kiriko and Maru would get out of the situation, because I legitimately couldn't figure out a way to survive after Kiriko's arm and the front half of her foot got bitten off. Some of the guys in the Reddit comments that I talked to were saying that essentially that's why they display the prosthetic so frequently. You know, as I said earlier, this anime is really good at like tripping you. It's like, I don't want to say subverting expectations because that phrase has been kind of tainted, but you know, subverting expectations. Because that was the red herring, the setup with all the prosthetics and stuff, that Kiriko would have to like get a prosthetic arm or something like that, and that didn't happen, I guess. Fortunately, like, it turns out it was all a dream, but like still, I was like legitimately terrified right there. The entire incident went without much of a, well, incident. An interesting thing is that, as it turns out, the guy that runs the Immortal Order was apparently glad that the Man-Eater was dead. I'm not sure what this guy's motivation is. I don't think any of us are. But yeah, apparently he's glad that the Man-Eater's dead. I expected him to just outright be a hostile enemy, but I guess not, which in some ways makes him more terrifying because we're not sure. I'm pretty sure this guy isn't friendly either. And that's where the episode ended. Man, these episodes really are way too short. Or, well, no, they're not way too short. They feel way too short. There we go. I think I had a lot of fun. This episode was a lot of fun, you know, as usual. What do you expect from this show? Yeah, I really liked it. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all I have to say for this episode. It was a good episode. I'm not, like, after they set up that whole thing last episode about how we have confirmation that Tokyo's a girl, I was a little curious as to see what was going on in heaven, but you know what? I'm pretty glad we got to find out more stuff about the Immortal Order, because I was really curious about that. With this anime, every time they give us an answer, they give us plenty more. This anime just keeps getting better episode by episode. Honestly, I'm really enjoying this show, and I hope you did too. So I guess that's that. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. You know, all that stuff. Smash that bell if you haven't done so already. And I guess I will be off. The sky's up, and you guys are awesome. I'll see you all in the next video.